All right, welcome back to another Conquest Battle Report. For this particular one, I'm going through the game one that I had at a tournament at time of recording about 2 weeks ago or so at Wargamers Guild in Bordentown, New Jersey. It's around exit, if you're from the area, it's about 7A off of the turnpike, and then about 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes off of that. So for me, about 45 minutes or so, a bit further north than that. Now, for this one, we actually had, I want to say it was 14 people. We had a really good turnout. However, I'm only going to end up talking about two of the games. This is going to be the first one, but I'm going to make a video related to the second game. I'm only going to talk about 2 out of 3 because this was the day after my wisdom tooth removal. And at the point, ibuprofen was working pretty good. But by the end, after 2 games, I wasn't feeling it necessarily. I said, you know what? Yeah, I can stick it out. But, at the end of the day, I was starting to get uncomfortable. It would probably get worse, the pain I had. I didn't have Tylenol with me. I only had ibuprofen. That wasn't cutting it anymore. And at the end of the day, I can play Conquest another day. What are we playing for? We're playing for, some stickers and maybe a model. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just go home. So I only have 2 games to talk about. But I do think that's of interest and hopefully going to have some more tournaments somewhat soon. So, for the first game, it was me versus a somewhat newer player. I didn't necessarily realize exactly at the time. Kind of figured out as we went along. His name is Beckett. To me. But for this, it turned out he had played First Blood quite a bit. Him and his father were there. He played First Blood quite a bit. He hadn't played this quite as much. I want to say this ended up being his second, third, or fourth game. It was somewhat early in the career for it. And really, they did what I would have done. They were in this tournament, which again, we're playing for fun. If you got to proxy stuff, we don't care. It's just for an enjoyable day. It's a good way to get 3 games in. But in essence, we were going through this, and they were doing it because, hey, what's a great way to learn the game is to guarantee today I play 3 games, and if I lose, who cares? Losing a bunch doesn't make a difference. If you're somewhat new, you're probably going to lose. And let's face it, you learn a lot more by losing than you do by winning. All right, so let's take a look at the lists. So for my list, for this one, I wanted to switch it up. I've been playing my Sorcerer Kings for a solid 6 months. So I want to go back to my old Dominion. And specifically, I want to go back to my Fallen Divinity because I spent a lot of time painting her. So we have her. For upgrades, she's taking Aura Malice because then she gets an 8-inch bubble of Dread. It does have to measure to your own units, not enemy units. But if you do keep your stuff a little bit packed in, especially early, they're not getting the Inspire, and you're not going to get it either because you're Old Dominion, so helps out a lot. And Eternal Discipline. This is, a guaranteed late game, but early game, this is the thing that keeps her around. Being able to reroll 6s on saves. Keep in mind, you do have Blessed, but Blessed doesn't work in ranged combat. It's only in close combat and impacts, which means if you're getting shot at, here's your way to get some rerolls. Because, yeah, you're on a 3 of aid, but I mean, you're a 300 plus point model with 12 wounds. You're not the most survivable at that moment. Getting those reroll 6s really, really helps a lot. Later, you're on 4s. You're at Hardened 2, so you're probably on 4s mostly. Reroll 6s and Tenacious 1 means no one's hurting you by that point. The real key with her, as I find, you got to keep her, you got to get to tier 2 as fast as you can. And then you can kind of tailor to when to hit 3, especially depending on the way you position units. But reality-wise, the faster you can get to 3, the more likely you are to win your games. You can't let her go away. If she goes away, unless she's done a bunch at tier 3, maybe then. But if you get to tier 3, you should be safe unless you were super, super injured going in. Remember, she does have some heal mechanics as she goes between her different levels. And she does start destroying units near her at those higher levels as well. I find I never got the plus to hit, the plus attack bonuses. I lose interest in getting myself hurt. But that's just the what ended up happening. I took a 3-pack Cannon Force and a 3-pack Carotids. We know they had Divine Shard, so that means if one of them goes down, they can give her 2 tokens to be able to pump her up. Although I'm finding in general, I have her tier 3, turn 4, turn 5. And we'll discuss a little bit of how that works in a moment. I bring an Archimandrite, so for her, I need a generator. So I have my Archimandrite. Base, didn't take any upgrades on my Archimandrite. 3 packs of Legionnaires, both of them with Dark Cenotaphs. Dark Cenotaphs, for anyone who's not familiar with them, If you are scoring an objective, or if you're claiming an objective, essentially as they put it, so if it's your objective and this unit is on there, then you get 2 additional dark power points. That means if both of them are standing somewhere good, that's 4 power points just from them alone. Well, those 4 power points, a unit of bone golems to a 3-pack. I realized later, in this game, we did Aura Death 3 and did the Memories Oldest 5. We kind of did it backwards because we just forgot. I haven't run these guys in a while, and we completely had that backwards in our minds. It wouldn't have made too much of a difference, honestly, the little bit of difference, but we did actually do that backwards. But Bone Golems I do like more than originally I thought, because maybe not so much in this list, but when you can get to that tier 3 and they're stuck in, because then you can be Aura Death 11. So it makes up for the fact that you're not really hitting that great and you're really hoping for relentless blows. Hierodeacon. So here's the other part of my essentially power generation. Sitting in a 3-pack Occultist, because that's nice and cheap and gets you out turn 1, so you can start doing Dark Supplication turn 1. Unit of Carrot Kits, because I had spent the week painting those and a Padrami unit, so I wanted to use them. Plus, move 8 with some decent range means that they're also a good backup in terms of shooting. And let's face it with this, you don't want her getting stuck in too much. That's one of the concerns you have. Like, she doesn't necessarily eat through things as much, especially against another Old Dominion player early on. So being able to pepper in some shots can really help out. And the deadly shot is very nice. If they roll those 6s, taking extra wounds. And a 4-pack of Bacchefali. Absolutely love Bacchefali. I want to take them in most lists. Devout really helps, because then if the Hierodeacon puts, I think it's Benediction of the Black Sun, the one that gives Blessed to a Brute unit, you only need the 1 success, most likely. I don't remember if it's scaling or not, but in the sizes I take, you only need 1 anyway. So you can get them the rerolls. Only 4 attacks, but cleave 3, but you get rerolls. Now you're really going to get through people. So that's my particular list. The point of this list, what this list is trying to do, I'm trying to get her to tier 3 as fast as possible. So remember, every round you get 1 dark power point automatically. That's your Blossom of Soma. The Hierodeacon, since she is blessed, her Dark Supplication is on 2s, 6 dice, but you only need 1 success, because Devout means she'll make another success, so you'll get your 2. So you're usually going to have that. So that's currently 2 power a turn, because the big lady has flank. That will be my auto in, so I guarantee I have them turn 1. And then after turn 1, because of the unit she's in, after turn 1, she's going to Dark Shepherd one of the Legionnaires. And then what's going to happen after that, at least for quite a while, is that the Archimenderate is going to heal that stand back. It's only going to heal it back with 2 wounds, but that's enough to get the stand back. Following turn, take them back out. So essentially, turn 1, I can get 2 dark power. Starting turn 2 and on, I can get 3 power without really trying. And then, if I can get onto objectives, and we'll see in some of my games, I put both of them on the same objective, I can get an additional 4. So I can be getting 7 power a turn. That means that even if you don't take anything out, I'm at 16 power, essentially, turn 3, because I'm getting 7, another 7 by the end of the turn. So as we're getting into turn 4, I'm at 16 or so power, going into 17 or 18 or so. So I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to that 3rd tier. So by turn 4, even if you've done nothing to me, I can pretty reliably be at tier 3. If I'm willing, and then, reality-wise, I can then start pumping some of this into the other. Keep in mind, she takes the points from things that are destroyed. There's other ways to get things from this. So that is my particular list. Let's take a look at his. All right, so for his list, he went Mana Strategos. Absolutely love that decision. For this, I'm going to kind of discuss the good and the bad, because he was somewhat a new player. I'm going to discuss the things that I thought went well and the things that I don't think were done quite as well, or things I might change. And when you're a new player, hey, guess what? That's what's going to happen. Mana Strategos, I think one of the things that I'm going to mention here, I think it's going to be too many upgrades personally for my liking. So he took treasures, he took an eczema. So if an enemy fails defense rolls, their wounds count as 2 wounds for testing morale. That didn't matter in this game. Might have helped him in other games, didn't help here. And the Eternal Discipline, the Untouchable, the same thing I had. He's sitting obviously in a 4-pack of Cataphracti with Standard Bear and Hierotos. Absolutely right way to take him. More than 4 is probably spending too many points, so I lose like a 4-pack exactly the same way. Hierodeacon took Reaping Crook, so that way I have 18-inch Destroy a Stand. I'm not sure it's necessarily needed, but it's not too bad. And the Vacuum, for that one, I don't ever take it. Oh, if you fully destroy a friendly regiment, you get 1 extra power. I think that's a 20 points you could save. Unless my plan is to fully kill out units, then I'm spending 20 points, and if I'm not destroying something on my side, it's not helping me. So personally, I wouldn't spend it. I would spend that on if I'm gonna spend a Dark Blessing. The Archimeder has devoted to Hazlia, so maybe I put. I don't even know. I'm not sure I spend it on much else, but I'm not a big fan of that one personally. Pack of Cultists to go sit that person in to start doing the power nice and early. A 3-pack of Legionnaires with Dark Cenotaph, so same sort of trick that I'm using there. 5-pack of Carotids, which is very, very scary because Carotids that arm piercing 2 at 20 inches, so essentially 26 if you're willing to walk first. And that many of them, and his list, unlike mine, isn't trying to up the Fallen Pantheon, so he can get to that tier 2, get that +1 barrage pretty quick. An Archimendrate, so I will tell him, I will say I taught him or explained to him the trick, so that way you kill a stand, get it back, and you can kind of keep going. So that actually helped out his thing there. He had his Legion 1 Progemia, which I don't take that. What does that do? Oh, they're 1 tier higher. I don't remember if you remember that much. I don't know if it mattered, really, for what we were doing personally. Devote to Hazlia is always nice, getting reroll 6s on your spells. Little 3-pack of Cares. The main problem with Cares, when you're going into Old Dominion, is your spell. So Drain Will is fine, -1 to defense, cool. You really want them for the Insanity. Insanity is much worse than it used to be. That's fine, though. The other problem is it goes against Resolve. And we don't have a Resolve stat. We just pass. So you can't really fight. That gives them an issue. They have some other things they can do, but they're a little less effective. A 9-brick of Legionnaires. We did discuss afterwards how a 9-brick of Legionnaires might not be the best idea because they don't have that survivability because they're only essentially on defense 2. But we'll get into that. And a pack of Bone Golems, because who doesn't love Bone Golems? All right, let's talk about the actual game a bit then. So this is picture-based because I took some pictures. That's all I got. I am on the bottom. I am on the closer edge. He was on the far edge. All right, so I tried to take some more pictures in between than I did in the past, so hopefully that helps out a little bit for all of this. All right, turn 1. He obviously gets his Cares. He gets his... And actually, afterwards, we realized he didn't have his Hierodeacon on a separate stand, so we do fix that. But it does only make a difference. His Hierodeacon with his Cultists. You notice mine's in a little 4-pack. If my goal isn't to fight you, I'm in a 4-pack. Makes me less wide, makes me a smaller target for you to hit, makes me more maneuverable, and I can fit units around it. We are playing there we go. The terrain here as impassable. Same thing there. Essentially here, here, and here. These are impassable terrain. We have some forest and some, just some hindering type terrain. So that's what we're taking a look at there. Okay. So one thing I realized through this game is I didn't necessarily position them as well as I wanted. The lady goes on first. This goes on later because I wanted to protect it. Its only goal for the moment is to stay back, generate me enough power. That way she can go stand on her own. What I'm seeing this for this particular mission, because actually I should discuss the mission. My apologies for not discussing it before. But for this particular mission, sorry, having a little bit of problem with my clicker. We have the 2 big objectives, small objective in the middle. This is, let me check. It was mission 7, Maelstrom. So you got the 2 9 inches sitting here. You have a 6-inch sitting in the middle. And for this one, this is the one where it turns 5 to 8. The outsides are worth 2 points. Otherwise, the middle is 1. All the other turns, it's 2 points for the middle, 1 point for the outside. For this particular mission, I actually checked it. No points for anything else. The maximum score in this mission, I want to say, was a 40 when I put it all together. And that's going to come into play later. All right, so that's what we do turn 1. My goal, obviously, with her is to push her forward, go stand on this objective, and deal with whatever else comes out here. My hope is, again, by turn 4, to have her at tier 3, so she can just go in and go ham on wherever she wants, but that's what I'm attempting to do. We are tracking some things, so hey, end of turn 1, I'm at 2 dark power. I didn't track the victory points here. I will discuss the victory points, but I didn't actually track it. I forgot to kind of track it here. I ended up using a different app. I used, was it Battle something? Tabletop Battles, that's what it was. Couldn't remember. I knew you used it for something. So, turn 1, obviously no point scored. We go to turn 2. For the second game, I know I took a lot more pictures. This one I took a lot less. For this particular round, I really didn't get much in. Mostly, I got a decent amount of stuff in, but the big thing is I ended up getting 3 more units in because I do have several heavies. So I get both my units of Legionnaires, where you're going to notice here that the Legionnaires are at the edges. So here's a base unit of Legionnaires. Down at the very far end over here is my Legionnaires that contain my Archimandrite. They need to be close enough so that way I can Dark Shepherd the 12 and then get the unit back. However, what I found and what I corrected for later is I really want that particular one, closer to her in case she needs that heal. Because maybe she needs those 2 wounds back because I end up getting hit hard. And it absolutely can happen. We notice from this, he obviously had his bows come in. Nice centered, good idea. Pop them forward the 12, or not quite 12 actually, if memory serves. The big thing, these guys are actually about 12 up. Kind of played them back a little bit. I would have played them a little bit more aggressive because they have a 20-inch range. And since he has two more Caratids than I do, he will win the Caratid v Caratid battle, especially because he will get the extra shot much, much sooner than I do. I don't think I probably get it till turn 6 or so, if they're even still alive at that point. So obviously, order-wise, these two are just going back and forth. I often will have it go first as a delay tactic, so that way I can essentially get my power and then just wait for the units to do something. Early, I'm not worried about them actually fighting anything, so they're going to stay back. I'm not sure that this unit of cultists ever took more than about 1 shot between both games. Maybe 2, but that's total. Taking a little bit of a higher picture so we can see what he gets in. So you notice he does get his 9 brick in of his Legionnaires being led by the Archimandrite. We did readjust it so he could put them in front. That was his plan, but he just made a little bit of errors in movement, but who cares? Readjust stuff. We're playing for fun. We're not playing for anything that great. So I pushed the lady up so she can go and grab the objective. So that was earlier in turn. This is now the end of turn 2. This way I can get at least 1 point. I stay right at the back so that way he could move charge me if he wanted to make it in, but he's not going to actually be able to get the swing. And I'm not that looking forward to right this moment of really getting in there. So I'm fine with waiting for a little bit. Unfortunately for this mission, though, these objectives are much closer to the middle, which means I'm nowhere near for my Dark Cenotaphs. It means it's going to take some time. He's not either, but it takes some time. All right, so that gives us our second turn. Just a little bit more zoomed in of a shot. Notice by turn 2, it's a little bit crooked here. Let me turn that. There we go. I'm now at 6 dark power for this particular one at the end of 2. Think about maybe it should have been a 5. I might have just miscounted. It doesn't make a difference in the game state, but we're starting up our dark power. So we go into the third turn. All right, for the third turn, we see we get quite a bit more in. Now, he does get his unit of Cataphracti in. I will say, somewhat correctly and sometimes to the detriment, neither one of us wanted to be the ones who push too quick, depending on the spots. Because we know, especially, okay, I see you in a Cataphracti. I know they're fine with a move charge. Because they hit that, they're going to have tons of damage. I can't let him hit either my Archimandrite's unit or my Higher Deacon's unit, because I'm going to lose either of them that he hits. So I march the Bone Golems right in front. I believe I push this unit back a little bit so I can fit those Bone Golems in there. I get my bows in. we're essentially just sitting outside of the 20-inch range, so either of us has to move first. I'm absolutely fine with that. We measure that ahead of time, so that way I know. I think I'm a little bit in there, but obviously I want to maybe be able to shoot those down, but I don't want to push that yet. I find when I'm playing, if you have a shooting unit, I'm going to measure your move charge range, or sorry, move attack range, and I'm going to make sure I'm sitting outside of that, or I'm just outside of it, making you move. I don't want you to be able to take aim and then shoot me. Same thing here. I measure the distances. I make sure that the move charge here doesn't quite make it. I'm about a half an inch away. So I'm looking for those sort of things and knowing that, okay, he might want to come in here. He could have went towards her, but okay, if he goes the other way, can I sit far enough back? I ensure that I sit far enough back. So let's pull forward a little bit in the turn. Pulling forward a little bit in the turn, I do push my unit of Legionnaires up so they can start scoring me some potential points. Remember, she's going to count for some bases. They're going to have some bases. If all I do is move them, if that's all I needed to do, I could do the +2 for taking it. He does move on, but he doesn't quite move far enough. And I think that was because he was worried about necessarily me charging into him, getting that nice charge. So he moves in a spot where at my move, I'm not really going to chance it time-wise. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with letting her get more powered before I end up getting in there. Or actually, I believe she ends up going late to this particular turn. So we can see his cares, a little bit of misplacement position-wise, because he kind of puts himself right in front of this blocking immovable terrain. So if he wants to shoot me, he kind of has to spend a turn just kind of getting positioned. And at least where he is right now, he's within shots for the ladies, although if he moves over, then he's entirely blocked. So that part actually works out quite well. The other parts of the board, people are just standing around waiting. His bone golems, as you can see at the edge, do come in, and they're waiting along the edge as well. The one thing to notice, and this comes into very big play, this hindering piece of terrain here. So I put my bone golems, and maybe I should go back to kind of show this a little bit nicer. When he put them in such a way where this hindering terrain, which removes his impacts, is in his way. So I'll put the bone golems, because if you want to move charge, I don't think he could make it, or if he did, maybe on a 6, but you don't get your impacts, that's fine. If Cataphracti don't impact, they don't do anything. He could avoid it, but avoiding it going around is going to take a while. It's going to be a slow process, because remember, with your move, that 7 move's only going to get about here. Another move, he'll be able to maybe get to the objective, but he's not getting that charge on them this particular turn. And if he does move to this position, I don't mind a move charge and do nothing, because my only goal is to hold them down. I can't let them hit these softer units. All right, so gives us a little bit of that thought. Lady ends up going late. She ends up going late and does some swings. So notice they do move in. They didn't shoot this particular turn, but they did position themselves well because she ended up going a little bit late. We do see the little 3-pack of Legionnaires hop in front because their goal, go get that middle objective, sit there. We can see his bone golems off to the side. And she goes in, she does some swings. For whatever reason, completely forgot the fact that he has the Archimede right here, so he'll be able to heal these guys up. Oh, sorry, that's a little bit cut off, isn't it? Let me adjust it a little bit. There we go, that's a little bit better. I just noticed that was cut off on the screen. But he does have this Archimede right here. So if I can't kill enough, he heals back. I will say for my own misplay, putting her in almost was a huge misplay. She does end up going down, but she takes a lot more wounds than I wanted her to. I think at one point she's down almost 8 wounds. And my heal mechanic is not even visible in this picture. So I need to get her to the higher tiers as quick as I can. And the way we're kind of jockeying right now, we're not really fighting each other. We're not necessarily getting that. I am getting a Dark Cenotaph to work out well here because she's counteracting those stands, so I'm able to grab some extra points. I do get just enough to be able to heal up in a moment, but it was actually looking pretty dicey for her. I will say, when you don't have an opponent that resolves, the fact that you're terrifying, she's looking, 12 attacks is a lot of attacks, but she's a giant monster. She's almost 400 points the way I take her. So when I'm doing all of that, I kind of need to hit you and I need to resolve you because I really got to remove a lot of stands. Against Old Dominion, that's not happening. So later, when she's like terrifying 3, you don't care about that fact. Yeah, 12 attacks is nice, but into a 9 brick, that's a little bit tough. That was probably a misplay on my part of where once that brick came in that I pushed for it. And this just shows a little bit better what we're gearing up towards. So I end up taking the objective. So, hey, these guys go off. I get the extra 2. I will say throughout the tournament, I didn't miss a dark supplication. So each turn, I'm getting the one from, essentially, the one from Blasphemous Soma. I'm getting one from Dark Supplication. I'm getting one from Destroying a Stand. So I'm getting 3 automatically. Here's an extra 2, getting 5. So this is getting me to that second tier. So that means she can heal up. So that is where, just showing the other side of the board as well, so we can kind of see what happened there. But again, teed off, but he needs to get past some terrain. And if it was me, I would have played these guys. I probably would have reversed their positions. These guys, it helps if they don't go through terrain, but if they do, it's not the end of the world. Cataphracti, if they go through terrain out on the charge, you've wasted Cataphracti, personally. So that ends our particular turn there. That is turn 3. I'm sitting at 8 power, about to top up to 9 as soon as the new round starts, so the lady will heal herself up. We'll notice on that, I score another point. I'm up like 2-0. The points in this one are super, super low. When we get into our next turn, so now we're into, this is turn 4? Yeah, that was turn 3, so we're going to turn 4. Because I'm looking at this thing here. Yeah, turn 4. So in turn 4, I've noticed I'm taking 7 wounds here on the lady. That is a combination of Kara shooting, this fight here, which if I'm not at tier 4, I'm not really as survivable. I'm not saying she's not tough to kill, but she's very killable when she's not at tier 3. And I have some cultists with some shots back here. The higher deacon, I think, is actually just going for more power so he can power himself up, but that could have shot into me as well. Other than that, so that's the main thing we see early. We do see I get my centaurs in, and they do go on this side because they're big enough to be able to plink into this unit. It's a 9-pack. I'm not getting through it nearly as fast as I thought. I kind of get tied down with them for a very long time. I need to be able to actually take those guys out. So I do bring these guys in to be able to get some more damage in. The fact that they have armor piercing 1 means that these legionnaires are only on 1s. And they roll 6s, you're taking extra damage. So I go for the support. I need that support. All right. We notice that his unit of legionnaires moves up, so they can just touch this objective, start scoring some points. Yes, I can hit into them. Remember, this is one worth more points right now. I am still holding this objective because he can't necessarily push forward onto it, but the destruction here is just really not happening. I'm taking a bunch of wounds in this process. And we see, I do bow into him, take out a unit. He does have to move forward. I see we turn 4, I get my Kephili in right at the end. Kephili, yeah, they're sitting in terrain, but their only goal, go and hit his bows, hit his carotids. You'll notice he took 4 wounds. On them, what did the 4? Oh no, that might have just been a position marker actually. No, because I shot here. I shot there. I'm not sure what his bow shot at. He might have actually, if memory serves, he didn't really get shots with them so much, or very good shots. I think I took like a wound or 2. Then I'm getting marked because he had to move first. I kind of delayed my action there. And when he pushed them forward, I wasn't worried about shooting the bows then. But these Kephili, their only goal, go and hit them. Stop them from shooting as best we can. What we don't quite see from this particular picture, let me see if the next one does it well. There it is. We see we got a bit of scrum on the other side. At this point, I need to start getting some more Dark Cenotaph power. And I need it because this is not going as well as I want. She's taken a lot of wounds. She doesn't have as many left. I need to get her to tier 3 to heal and to get all of her extra defensive buffs that she ends up having. Get her to Tenacious, get her to 4. I'm rerolling 6s. You can use the Blessed and all of that. So what I end up doing here, I end up just toe touching. That lets him move charge his Bone Golems. He does have the full 3-pack. I take a a wound or two, but nothing too big, if that, because all it gets is impact due to distances. When he does that, my bone golems were sitting here. They see him. They get a nice charge. They get the charge in. They get the charge. They end up taking out one of his bone golems. I took a few wounds back across this, but I was able to actually take them out. So I removed one of them. I forget what they took damage from. It might have been from... So actually, that's what the carrot shot at. Sorry, it's been a little bit because I was sick. Well, sick and wisdom tooth out. They shot in and did wounds. So that's where their actual bow shots end up going. But I take one down, nicely locked down, and the part I like about this, these guys now, to go forward, will have to end up going through this hindering terrain. They're going to lose their impacts if they want to hit me. They could attempt to avoid it, but with their proximity, it would be actually very, very tough. And with the particular formation, he's going to kind of have to go through with 4 of them no matter what. Because a move first and come over, keep in mind, and this was something, I don't know if he realized at first, and I reminded him of this. You have to hit your opponent as best you can. So that means his middle stand has to hit my stand, because that maximizes his stands in contact. The fact that has to happen at the end of it, it's going to put at least 3 of them, potentially all 4 out of 5 of them, on this terrain piece. Even if he avoids it on the movement, which he kind of can't. But even if so, he's still going to go sit on that. So I didn't mind charging in. I had these guys go at a reasonably moderate timing, because I figured you're not going to get your impacts, so I'm fine. Get stuck in with me. You'll take some more death, and I'll slowly whittle you away. And even if I don't end up taking you out, hey, now that you're stuck here, this higher deacon unit could push forward and do some shots there. These carotids could do that if they wish. But if not, stay there for a while. That's fine. We'll get stuck in. So, turn 4, though the points are low, I am starting to position myself well. We're noticing when I'm getting a whole bunch more power for my Fallen Pantheon. I might have marked it incorrectly. I shouldn't be quite that high. I was at 8. Oh yeah, because here's 9, 10. We're at 11, 12. Her 13, 14, and then 15. Yeah, so we are actually getting up there. Might have been a miscount from a previous round, but we are actually getting up there. And partway through the next round, we get what we need. We don't need it immediately, but we absolutely get to it. So, at the end of the round, he actually scores same amount as I do. Or, actually, my apologies, I think better than I do. Because he gets a 2-pointer, I get like a 2. So, we're sitting at like 2 to 3. So, score, even though I'm well positioned, score super low. We go into turn 5. So, turn 5. She has now hit the higher tier. She's now tier 3. Takes her a while, but she does get to it. You'll notice I do lose a stand here from just her blowing them up. I do keep my centaurs out of range of her destroy stand. So they're planking shots into here. You'll notice at this moment that the 9-pack is gone. She now sitting at her tier 3 when she goes is able to take enough of them out. He does charge his cultists in just to be able to tie me down. Unfortunately, I do have enough things to kind of circumvent that, because now this unit, all they're doing is just counting themselves as +2 stands for seizing the objective. And that makes these Kiers not really do much, because now she's saves on 4s, reroll 6s, tenacious 1. Not really getting through. Between my bows and her, she takes out what's left of those legionnaires. We'll notice that my particular bows did take out the legionnaires here in the middle. He did move forward. He moved forward to be able to grab some points, because now we're looking at the turns where this point really matters for about one more turn. And my guys were able to move charge. They got some impacts in. I did like a few wounds, like say 2. I wasn't able to swing, but I was able to get the move charge in. And what's nice about this, I am now well positioned from here to be able to bless them, so that way they can get those rerolls on their attacks. And my Cannon Force finally come in. It took them till turn 5 to show up. Not that I necessarily needed them. You'll notice over here, let me see if I have a better picture of this one. I forget some of the pictures I took or not. No, I didn't. Okay, that's fine. In this particular scrum, he's down to 1 here. No, sorry, he's still down up to 2 of his bone golems. I've lost 1. They are chewing into me because they do have a good amount of attacks, but they just lose a lot of their teeth. And then I'm losing some here as well in the Legionnaires, but I did go wide with the Legionnaires to get some more swings in. It really didn't do much, but we're trying. At the end of that particular turn 5, I'm scoring 2. He's actually ended up scoring 3 because now he actually is beating me out on this objective over here. So I'm still grabbing the one here, but he has the middle because he has more stands on it, and he has the far side. So I'm scoring like 1, he's scoring 3. So actually at this point, I'm currently losing the game. We get to the 18 power, that's no longer needed, so now everything's going dark power. The one nice thing is that because of where these positioned are, I don't have to, when I lose the stance here, none of it goes to her, so I'm actually able to start getting my dark power pool and not just Fallen Pantheon. All right, sorry, let me just check. Yep, I have a few pictures here. We're now looking at turn 6. This is somewhat early turn 6. We notice, hey, I'm just losing everything but the command stand here. That's fine. She is waiting to go because her goal is just to see what sort of destruction she can rot. I was able to take out one of the bows. That was after I blessed, so that we have a little bit extra. And we see here, I do end up removing his bone golems off this far left side, but I'm down to 1 myself, so I'm running out of things. And again, what's useful about this is, off of the way they end up being killed, he's still stuck in these woods. So it's causing him some issues there. I am at the position now where these Canaphores, though, can move charge in, and they won't quite touch it. I think I can just charge in, but a move charge is a nice surety. So just showing a little bit closer view here of what's happening. My bows at this point, my Caratids aren't doing a thing. They can't see through the terrain over to here. They can't see any of this because of the sizes. They actually end up just turning and taking some pot shots down here. They do like a wound or 2. Nothing really great. But these guys now are teed up to be able to launch forward. And again, that's helping protect this unit of Legionnaires that are getting me points as well as getting me power. And I kind of need both. Or I want both. That ends us our particular turn there. So we end up moving into it's end of turn 6. We're now sitting at 9 power. Now we're at tier 2. For turn 6, what are we at points wise? This is where I start kind of pulling away the score because I'm essentially going to score about 4 points from here on out, because now I have enough where I can grab this objective. The middle is contested. I grab the outside, and through these turns, the outsides, the 9 inches are worth 2 each. So I'm scoring 4-0. Following turn, we notice, okay, when she goes, she takes out the cultist unit and charges the cares. Still able to sit on the objective, so I'm able to score this. I do obviously end up killing out my Legionnaire unit down here. So I will get less power, but I don't really need it. She's powered up enough and I'm at least tier 2, so I'm at least getting my draw events, so I'm able to keep holding this one. And we're just going to keep swinging for the fences there at the middle. We do notice that at this point, this is turn 6, where I'm actually able to, might be turn 7 now, where I'm actually able to get in with my Canaphores into the unit of Cataphracti to actually start being able to put some damage onto them. Because this bone golem ain't going to do anything. Oh, took multiple pictures, but that's very nice. So, turn 7, didn't even apparently change the mark of the power. I don't think I got the tier 3, and none of that mattered. But I'm able to score 4 points to his no points. The lady does what she wants to do, slowly taking these out, locking this down. So this side of the table is dealt with. I still do have my centaurs. They can push in if needed, but for the moment they really don't need to. Bows do rotate, so they can take some shots into his Canaphores. Sorry, his Caratids. No. My apologies. Cataphracti into his Cataphracti. My Canaphores hit his Cataphracti. Bone Golem gets annihilated. But at this point, I am starting to win the middle battle. I am losing my guys because Caratids can actually still fight in combat. But I'm able to start whittling them down. It is 5 wounds. They they have what? Evade 1 or 2 that he's getting. Sorry, I can click on this and judge. They're evade 1, so he's only getting 1s, but I'm not tons of attacks. I'm only 4 attacks each. And I'm not at the point to be inspired. I'm not tier 3. So that means I don't want to say only on 3s, but I'm on 3s. So I am only getting about 50 to 75% if I can end up getting my blessed onto them. But we notice it's starting to collapse, unfortunately, for him. Being able to hold her up here was working quite well for him, but he couldn't quite see the deal. What I probably would have done, personally, I would have put one of those other big units that went to this far side over here to finish her off. Because if she's gone, you're in a much better shape. But that gives us our turn 7. As you'll notice, I start kind of pulling away because now I'm going to take the middle and both sides. It's only going to get me 4 points for quite a while, but I can actually start doing that. So, again, I put him down to 1 in the following turn. So this is like turn 8. In turn 9, that's gone. Turn 9, this is gone. The last few turns, we can just score out, and I'm just sitting on the particular spots. So, overall for the game, it ended up being a 25-7 victory for me. Things learned from the game. My particular side. I want to have an Archimandrite near my Fallen Divinity so I can get that heal if I need it. Her stats seem great, but in tier 1, she's very, very killable. And if you're going against her, if she gets to tier 3, you probably don't have the tools unless you've done tons of damage, unless she's like maybe on like the 7 wounds or so. Probably just ignore her. Feed her something that gets in her way. That way she has to charge it. Don't you charge. Get in her way, make her charge you, make her swing at you, and you lose the unit, so be it. Feed her little things. Slow her down for turns so she doesn't get to do what she wants. She wants to, at that point, go score points and go kill your heaviest stuff. Feed her little tiny things. Feed her little 3-packs that you don't care about, or something. Or focus on her turn 1. Turn 1, turn 2, when she's tier 1. If you don't get her down well by the time she goes to tier 2, it's probably not worth trying. If you get enough stuff in, sure. She was within like 4 wounds of dying at one point, but was able, like I said, I taught him the tricks of the way to kind of power up quickly. But with my powering up fast, by turn 4, she was able to get to tier 3. She at that point had healed, twice, so she'd heal 10 wounds or whatever. So she ended up being able to stick around. After that, I played back a little bit, measured my distances, of course, tried to make sure that the terrain was to my advantage. When you are a cav unit, watch out for terrain. If it's going to remove your impact and that's what you do, go somewhere else. It's better to wait a turn than to go in and not impact. And that was something that he did that I really do think was was something to maybe learn from. When he had his Cataphractii unit here, realistically, I mean, that was turn 4. I would have spent 1 full turn just moving over and then charge into this unit. You'll eliminate them. And keep in mind you have a Strategos, so you could choose that to be the turn where you get your free reform. So smack them, destroy them, reform, rotate to see my bone golems, charge my bone golems. Would you kill them all? Maybe not. But with that and your bone golems, you very well may. And that could absolutely have swung the side of this. Now, had he done that, I don't want to play the game of, well, I did this, well, you did this, so I did this. Had he done that, yeah, I would have changed what I did. But because these Canaphores came in so late, I think that really gave him a good shot to be able to lock this side down enough that made my Canaphores hit into him, but he's scoring some points, and he's removing my ability to power up a lot. I think a lot of times with Cav, sometimes people push Cav too fast. If you are not at the advantage with your Cav, don't use your Cav. Wait. Put them in the advantage first. And once she's tier 3, she's a beast, and I absolutely love her. She was a lot of fun to use. But it was an absolutely great game. He was Beckett was a great opponent. I apologize also if I got the name wrong. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I'm pretty sure it's Beckett. But like I said, it's been a few weeks, and last week was absolutely miserable for pain. So I'm a little bit shaky on some stuff. But I will say I had a lot of fun. I learned quite a bit. I hope he learned quite a bit as well. Doing the OD versus OD is always a fun battle because neither side has that big advantage. We're both just kind of smacking into each other. Who can get some better dice? Whose list works a little bit better for that? Like I said, he was at. Unfortunately, my list plays better into OD than his does, because his list has cares, which means they have an attack that doesn't do much. He has his giant brick will sit, but it's not really like his terrifying doesn't help at all. His Cataphracti could have done him a lot, but unfortunately, a little bit of positioning issues meant that he just gets stuck in. And my list was better at being stuck in. If I was playing that other side, I probably would have pushed my bows, not necessarily for the middle objective, but to hammer on and remove units a little bit more. I would have pushed them a little bit more. I probably, like I said, I would have done that with my Cataphracti, and I probably would put my Bone Golems on the lady side and just put a decent amount of wounds on her. Yeah, I'm going to try and tee off because she's still reasonably killable at tier 2, potentially even more than tier 1, because at tier 1, she's evade 3, so she's minimum 3s. At tier 2, she could be on 2s if you have a good cleave. So easier to take out. I probably would have put that way and just tried to finish her off. Because once she's done, now I'm in a good position. Now I like my chances. Yeah, the rest of the guys get all that power, but who cares? That part doesn't matter. It's not going to help them. Not going to help them enough, at least. Because then you're also in a good position for where Bucephali are to push to them. You're now really securing that objective. The Centaurs could get away if they wanted to, but they're not really going to do much at that point because they stay anywhere close. Those Bone Golems are going to smack into them and shut them down. So, but overall, great game, great opponent. Learned a lot, and that is a first round victory. All right. One other game we're going to be talking about, I'm going to do as a separate video. I don't know if I'm going to do it right now or at a later point, but that was a game versus Wadroon. I said, unfortunately, I only played 2 games at this particular tournament. I really wanted to play that third round, not to give away what happens in the next game, but it would have been, I think it might have been against the Nord player who ended up winning. So it would have been a really interesting battle because I don't know how my list would have performed against it. And I'm really curious to see how it would have done. He had a very fast list, and she needs some time. The lady wants a little bit of waiting. So, all right, but so that was this particular one. I want to do the long form where we actually record the battle reports. Just life has been nutty lately. But with Euroni having come out now, I just recorded shortly ago about some of the boxes, some unboxing stuff. I really do want to get back to that. Hopefully Dan has the free time. If not, there's some guys at the store, some locals, and there's a few other stores, some other players that are coming up. So maybe some other people can start recording some games with, especially as we start getting to a point where my schedule maybe gets a little bit more set in stone, especially as for me personally, not too long distance future from now, get into the summer where my availability goes up quite a bit. At least the availability at the times when other people can. Like I always teach Tuesday and Thursday night, so that usually ends up working for people. All right, well, keep in mind, if you want to pick up anything for Conquest, say like a Fallen Divinity or the New Year or anything like that, we do have a discount code. It's Terrain Kickers. Saves you 10%, helps out the show as well, helps be able to keep bringing content and things like that. I said, plan some battle reports. I do want to talk, some people asked for a video related to Cavalry. I do have the Learn to Play video that I've been editing, but I said last week, I plan to do all kinds of stuff. And I said this in one of my other videos, but just so people know, turns out, depending on ethnicity, for Caucasians, it's about 10% of people are not affected by codeine. They do lack the enzymes to break it down. So codeine is broken down to morphine, and that's what causes the effect. I'm one of those people. So I was given stuff with codeine, and it did nothing. So it was a good, honestly, about 5 days of just really bad. It got better with some Tylenol near the end, but in the beginning, you can only take so much Tylenol before your liver goes to hell, and I couldn't take enough. So all my great and wondrous plans of last week all went away. But hey, it's a brand new week. It's Monday. We're getting back into some content. All right, well, let me know what you think. Let me know, what would you have done? Did you see something that you liked? Looking at the list, what might you have changed? For his particular list, here's it briefly. I wouldn't take an 9-pack. We talk about it afterwards. If he wants a survival unit, his plan was for, because we talked about this, a big survivable block. Legionnaires don't do that anymore. They used to. When they had phalanx, sure, no longer. What I would do is I would take a smaller block if you really want to do that. Legionnaires, they are the tax or the Dark Cenotaph carrier. If you really want something to survive, you're taking Praetorians. Praetorians are much better at surviving, especially if you get to that tier 3, because then you could Bastion as the draw event, and Bastion again. You can actually get up to defense 5s on them, and you'll have a resolve, so they'll stick around. Instead of taking that 9-pack, I'd rather take like a 4-pack. I don't think you have to get as big as the 9. I take a 4-pack of Praetorians, saves me some points. I remove a few upgrades. Like I said, other games they would have helped, but I remove an upgrade or 2, and that might actually be enough to get a couple more stands of something. Or maybe for those bows, I could maybe instead of a 5-pack, break them to 2 3s, because I could probably buy that extra bow. Or maybe drop 1 bow with my point savings otherwise, and maybe get a unit of Canifores or something like that. Because actually, yeah, if you drop down, you'd have a good amount of savings. So that to me, I think, is what I would probably do. And then, yeah, list-wise, other parts I liked. I liked the 3 bone golems. I personally love Bucephaly, but that's me personally. I think the 5-pack of Caratids are very, very scary. I think Cataphracti, the way he did it, was great. Care's decent in most other lists. But I think the big thing was that big 9 brick didn't do what he thinks. And across the tournament, I think he realized it doesn't quite do what he thinks. But hey, we play the game for this. If it's a fun game, that's another thing. Tournament, not that everyone's bringing super competitive lists, of course. But in a tournament, that's when you're really going to see, hey, what kind of stuff can my list do? What are these ideas? I went with my list because I wanted to bring the lady. I wanted to bring a bunch of my brutes. And I wanted to figure out, could I get here to those tiers very quickly? Because otherwise she doesn't survive. And yeah, I was able to do my objective. Whether or not it meant I won game, that honestly I didn't really care about. Spoiler, the previous tournament I had won. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I had my win. I got my cool model. The rest of it, who cares? I'm not going to actively do bad things. I didn't want to take a Sidar normal mortals based Sorcerer Kings list because that's actively just bad. But I will say for the next tournament, it's probably May, I'm going to bring Euroni, and I can guarantee the right stuff won't all be out yet because I don't think our monsters will be out yet. And I don't think with our monsters, I think we're kind of bad. So will I lose a bunch? Sure. Will I have fun playing it? Yeah. I'm happy. Hey, I got my one cool model, whichever one it was. I don't care what happens for the rest of this. All right, well, that's plenty of this. On behalf of everyone here at the show, then, have some good hobbying. It's great gaming.